The Republic F-84F Thunderstreak was an American-built swept-wing turbojet fighter bomber. While an evolutionary development of the straight-wing F-84 Thunderjet, the F-84F was a new design. The RF-84F Thunderflash was a photo reconnaissance version. Development. In 1949, a swept-wing version of the F-84 was created with the hope of bringing performance to the level of the F-86. The last production F-84E was fitted with a swept tail, a new wing with 38.5 degrees of leading-edge sweep and 3.5 degrees of anhedral, an AJ-35A25 engine producing 5,300 pound-force, 23.58 knots, of thrust. The aircraft was designated XF-96A. It flew on June 3, 1950 with Otto P. Haas at the controls. Although the airplane was capable of 602 knots, 693 miles per hour, 1,115 kilometers per hour, the performance gain over the F-84E was considered minor. Nonetheless, it was ordered into production in July 1950 as the F-84F Thunderstreak. The F-84 designation was retained because the fighter was expected to be a low-cost improvement of the straight-wing Thunderjet with over 55% commonality in tooling. In the meantime, the U.S. Air Force, hoping for improved high-altitude performance from a more powerful engine, arranged for the British Armstrong Siddeley Sapphire turbojet engine to be built in the United States as the Wright J65. To accommodate the larger engine, YF-84FS with a British-built Sapphire as well as production F-84FS with the J65 had a vertically stretched fuselage, with the air intake attaining an oval cross-section. Production delays with the F-84F forced the U.S. Air Force to order a number of straight-wing F-84GS as an interim measure. Production quickly ran into problems. Although tooling commonality with the Thunderjet was supposed to be 55%, in reality only 15% of tools could be reused. To make matters worse, the F-84F utilized press-forged wing spars and ribs. At the time, only 3 presses in the United States could manufacture these, and priority was given to the Boeing B-47 Stratojet bomber over the F-84. The YJ-65W1 engine was considered obsolete and the improved J-65W3 did not become available until 1954. When the first production F-84F finally flew on November 22, 1952, it differed from the service test aircraft. It had a different canopy which opened up and back instead of sliding to the rear, as well as air brakes on the sides of the fuselage instead of the bottom of the aircraft. The aircraft was considered not ready for operational deployment due to control and stability problems. The first 275 aircraft, equipped with conventional stabilizer elevator tailplanes, suffered from accelerated stall pitch-up and poor turning ability at combat speeds. Beginning with Block 25, the problem was ameliorated by the introduction of a hydraulically powered one-piece stabilator. A number of aircraft were also retrofitted with spoilers for improved high-speed control. As a result, the F-84F was not declared operational until May 12, 1954. Thunderflash. The second YF-84F prototype was completed with wing root air intakes. These were not adopted for the fighter due to loss of thrust. However, this arrangement permitted placement of cameras in the nose and the design was adopted for the RF-84F Thunderflash reconnaissance version. The first YRF-84F was completed in February 1952. The aircraft retained an armament of 4 machine guns and could carry up to 15 cameras. Innovations included computerized controls which adjusted camera settings for light, speed, and altitude, a periscope to give the pilot better visualization of the target, and a voice recorder to let the pilot narrate his observations. Being largely identical to the F-84F, the Thunderflash suffered from the same production delays and engine problems, delaying operational service until March 1954. The aircraft was retired from active duty in 1957, only to be reactivated in 1961, and finally retired from the ANG in 1972. Several modified Thunderflashes were used in the Falcon project. Design. The Thunderstreak suffered from the same poor takeoff performance as the straight-wing Thunderjet despite having a more powerful engine. In reality, almost 700 pounds force, 3.11 knots, or 10% of total thrust was lost because the J65 was installed at an angle and its exhaust had a prominent kink. On a hot day, 7,500 feet, 2,285 m, of runway were required for takeoff roll. A typical takeoff speed was 160 knots, 185 miles per hour, 300 kilometers per hour. Like the Thunderjet, the Thunderstreak excelled at cruise and had predictable handling characteristics within its performance envelope. Like its predecessor, it also suffered from accelerated stall pitch-up and potential resulting separation of wings from the airplane. In addition, spins in the F-84F were practically unrecoverable and ejection was the only recourse below 10,000 feet, 3,000 m. Operational history. Project run in completed operational tests in November 1954 and found the aircraft to be to U.S. Air Force satisfaction and considerably better than the F-84G. However, ongoing engine failures resulted in the entire fleet being grounded in early 1955. Also, the J65 engine continued to suffer from flameouts when flying through heavy rain or snow. As the result of the problems, the active duty phase-out began almost as soon as the F-84F entered service in 1954, and was completed by 1958. Increased tensions in Germany associated with construction of the Berlin Wall in 1961 resulted in reactivation of the F-84F fleet. In 1962, the fleet was grounded due to the corrosion of control rods. A total of 1,800 man-hours were expended to bring each aircraft to full operational capacity. Stress corrosion eventually forced the retirement of ANG F-84FS in 1971. On March 9, 1955, Lieutenant Colonel Robert R. Scott, in a F-84F Thunderstreak, set a 3-hour, 44-minute and 53-second record for the 2,446-mile flight from Los Angeles to New York. With the appearance of the Republic F-105 Thunderchief, which also used wing-root-mounted air intakes, the Thunderstreak became known as the Thud's mother. The earlier F-84A had been nicknamed the Hog and the F-84F Super Hog, the F-105 becoming the Ultra Hog. In what is probably one of the very few air-to-air engagements involving the F-84F, 2 Turkish Air Force F-84F Thunderstreaks shot down 2 Iraqi Il-28 Beagle bombers that crossed the Turkish border by mistake during a bombing operation against Iraqi Kurdish insurgents. This engagement took place on August 16, 1962. The F-84F was retired from active service in 1964, and replaced by the North American F-100 Super Sabre. The RF-84F was replaced by the RF-101 Voodoo in U.S. Air Force units, and relegated to duty in the Air National Guard. The last F-84F Thunderflash retired from the ANG in 1971. 3 Hellenic Air Force RF-84FS that were retired in 1991 were the last operational F-84S. Variants: YF-84F. 2 swept-wing prototypes of the F-84F, initially designated YF-96. F-84F Thunderstreak. Swept-wing version with Wright J65 engine. Tactical Air Command aircraft were equipped with low-altitude bombing system, LABS, for delivering nuclear bombs. 2,711 built, 1,301 went to NATO under Mutual Defense Assistance Program, MDAP. GRF-84F. 25 RF-84FS were converted to be carried, and launched from the bomb bay of a GRB-36F bomber as part of the Falcon project. The aircraft were later redesignated RF-84K. RF-84F Thunderflash. Reconnaissance version of the F-84F, 715 built. RF-84K Thunderflash, Falcon. RF-84F with a retractable probe for hookup with carrier GRB-36DS and tailplanes with marked anhedral, 25 redesignated from RF-84F. XF-84H. 2 F-84FS were converted into experimental aircraft. Each was fitted with an Allison XT40A1 turboprop engine of 5,850 shaft horsepower, 4,365 kilowatts, driving a supersonic propeller. Ground crews dubbed the XF-84H the Thunderscreech due to its extreme noise output. YF-84J. Two F-84Fs were converted into YF-84J prototypes with enlarged nose intakes and a deepened fuselages for the General Electric J73 engine. The YF-84J reached Mach 1.09 in level flight on April 7, 1954. The project was cancelled due to the excessive cost of converting existent F-84Fs. Operators. Belgium. Belgian Air Force, 197 XF-84F, 34 XRF-84F operated from 1955. Republic of China, Taiwan. Republic of China Air Force. Denmark. Royal Danish Air Force, 23 times RF-84F 1957-1971. France. French Air Force. Germany. West German Air Force, 450 times F-84F, 108 times RF-84F 1956-1967. Greece. Greek Air Force. Italy. Italian Air Force operated 194 Republic F-84F Thunderstreak and 78 RF-84F Thunderflash from 1956 until 1974. Netherlands. Royal Netherlands Air Force, 180 times F-84F, 24 times RF-84F 1955-1970. Norway. Royal Norwegian Air Force, 35 times RF-84F 1956-1970. Turkey. Turkish Air Force. United States. United States Air Force, 1496 times F-84F, 388 times RF-84F 1952-1972. Aircraft on display. Belgium. Unknown Balancai Heuvel Aerodrome. Unknown Beverlo Air Base. France. F-84F. Unknown Musée de l'Ret de l'Espace. Germany. F-84F Thunderstreak. Tactical number BF-106 Luftwaffenmuseum Gate-To, Militaristisches Museum der Bundeswehr. Tactical number DD-313 Luftwaffenmuseum Gate-To, Militaristisches Museum der Bundeswehr. Tactical number D-254, S.N.51-1702, Flugaustellung Peter Jr., Hermes Kiel. Tactical number BF-105, S.N.52-6778, Flugaustellung Peter Jr., Hermes Kiel. RF-84F Thunderflash. Tactical number EB-344 Luftwaffenmuseum Gate-To, Militaristisches Museum der Bundeswehr. Tactical number EA-241, S.N.52-7663, Flugaustellung Peter Jr., Hermes Kiel. Italy. F-84F. 53 to 6892 Italian Air Force Museum, Vigna di Valle near Rome. RF-84F Thunderflash. 52 to 7458 Italian Air Force Museum, Vigna di Valle near Rome. 52 to 7456, Private Display of PIP Lido, via Roma Destra, 30,016 Venice, Italy, coordinates 45.505538, 12.627090. Netherlands. F-84F. P-134, in storage at Nationaal Militair Museum, Soesterberg. P-226, 53 to 6612, on display at Nationaal Militair Museum, Soesterberg. P-254, in storage at Nationaal Militair Museum, Soesterberg. RF-84F. TP-19, in storage at Nationaal Militair Museum, Soesterberg. Norway. RF-84F Thunderflash. 51 to 7055 under restoration to original bare aluminium scheme, Air Force Training Center, Kajavik. 51 to 17,045 Fly Historisk Museum, Sola, Stavanger Airport, Sola, near Stavanger. 51 to 17,053 Forsvarets Flies Amling Gardermoen, Oslo Airport, Gardermoen near Oslo, Poland. F84F. 52 to 7,157, ex-Belgium, Polish Aviation Museum, Krakow, Russia. F84F. 3033, ex-Belgium, Technical Museum, Moscow, Turkey. F84F. 51 to 1901 Istanbul Aviation Museum. 52 to 8733 Istanbul Aviation Museum. 52 to 8941 Ataturk Airport, Istanbul, United Kingdom. F84F. 52 to 6541 Northeast Aircraft Museum, Sunderland, United States. XF84F. 49 to 2430 National Museum of the United States Air Force, Dayton, Ohio. F84F. Unknown on roadside display, private owner, in Blacksville, West Virginia. 51 to 1386 Barksdale Global Power Museum, Barksdale AFB, Louisiana. 51 to 1620 Empire State Aerosciences Museum in Glenville, New York. 51 to 1639 Springfield Downtown Airport, Springfield, Missouri. 51 to 1640 Hill Aerospace Museum, Hill AFB, Utah. 51 to 1713 Delta County Airport in Escanaba, Michigan. 51 to 1714 Strategic Air Command and Aerospace Museum in Ashland, Nebraska. 51 to 1739 Korean War Memorial South Whitley, Indiana. 51 to 1772 Aerospace Museum of California in McClellan, California. 51 to 1786 Virginia Air and Space Center in Hampton, Virginia. 51 to 1797 Ohio Ang Base in Springfield, Ohio. 51 to 1817 Camp Robinson in Little Rock, Arkansas. 51 to 1818 Fairfield Map in Iowa. 51 to 1822 Illinois Ang Base in Springfield, Illinois. 51 to 9350 Air Force Flight Test Center Museum at Edwards AFB, California. 51 to 9396 Holloman AFB, New Mexico. 51 to 9430 Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst, New Jersey. False markings of 52 to 7066 applied. 51 to 9432 Marchfield Air Museum in Riverside, California. 51 to 9433 Castle Air Museum in Atwater, California. 51 to 9444 Seminole Valley Park in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. 51 to 9451 Wilson Park in Granite City, IL. 51 to 9480 American Air Power Museum, East Farmingdale, New York. 51 to 9495 Air Force Armament Museum, Eglin AFB, Florida. 51 to 9501 Yankee Air Museum, Belleville, Michigan. 51 to 9514 Allen County War Memorial Coliseum in Ft. Wayne, Indiana. 51 to 9531 Chanute Air Museum in Rantoul, Illinois. 52 to 6438 Georgia Veterans State Park in Cordele, Georgia. 52 to 6455 American Legion Post No. 490, Houston, Texas. 52 to 6456 Veterans of Foreign Wars Post No. 6791, West Chicago, Illinois. 52 to 6461 Lackland AFB, Texas. 52 to 6470 Mountain Home AFB, Idaho. 52 to 6497 Iowa Gold Star Museum in Johnston, Iowa. 52 to 6526 National Museum of the United States Air Force in Dayton, Ohio. 52 to 6553 Window on the Plains Museum in Dumas, Texas. 52 to 6555 Wings of Freedom Aviation Museum in Horsham, Pennsylvania. 52 to 6563 Pima Air and Space Museum in Tucson, Arizona. 52 to 6634 Defense Supply Center Richmond in Richmond, Virginia. 52 to 6701 Museum of Aviation, Robbins AFB, Georgia. 52 to 6782 Luke AFB, Arizona. 52 to 6993 Wilbur Wright Birthplace and Museum near Millville, Indiana. 52 to 7019 Cheyenne Municipal Airport in Wyoming. 52 to 7080 England AFB, Louisiana. 52 to 8837 Richmond Airport, Virginia. 52 to 8886 South Dakota Air and Space Museum at Ellsworth AFB, South Dakota. RF-84F Thunder Flash. 51 to 1944 Pima Air and Space Museum in Tucson, Arizona. 51 to 11259 Lincoln Air National Guard Base, Nebraska. 52 to 7249 Danley Field and Collection, Montgomery, Alabama. 52 to 7259 National Museum of the United States Air Force in Dayton, Ohio. 52 to 7265 Planes of Fame Museum in Chino, California. 52 to 7409 Birmingham ANGB, Birmingham, Alabama. 52 to 7421 Yankee Air Museum, Belleville, Michigan. 53 to 7595 American Air Power Museum, East Farmingdale, New York. Accidents and incidents. On April 4, 1957, the U.S. Air Force Captain Richard W. Higgins died after a low ejection with one of the first F-84Fs of the German Air Force near the Fürstenfeldbruck Air Base. In June 1957 Bud Day survived a no-shoot ejection from an F-84 in Britain following an engine fire. On August 29, 1961, a French Air Force F-84F clipped the cable of an aerial tramway at Mont Blanc, killing 6 people and leaving 81 more stranded. The pilot was on a reconnaissance mission and was unaware of the accident until after he had landed. On September 14, 1961, 2 West German F-84Fs of the West German Air Force crossed into East German airspace due to a navigational error, eventually landing at Berlin-Tegel Airport, evading a large number of Soviet fighter aircraft. The event came at a historically difficult time during the Cold War, 1 month after the construction of the Berlin Wall. July 29, 1966 Crash in South Gardner, Ma. Specifications, F-84F. General characteristics. Crew, 1. Length, 43 feet 4 3/4 in, 13.23 m. Wingspan, 33 feet 7 1/4 in, 10.25 m. Height, 14 feet 4 3/4 in, 4.39 m. Wing area, 325 feet superscript 2, 30 square meters. Empty weight, 13,830 pounds, 5,200 kilograms. Loaded weight, lb, kg. Max takeoff weight, 28,000 pounds, 12,701 kilograms. Power plant, 1 times Wright J65W3 turbojet, 7,220 lbf, 32.2 knots. Performance. Maximum speed, 695 miles per hour, 604 knots, 1,119 kilometers per hour, Mach 0.91, at sea level. Range, 810 miles, 704 nmi, 1,304 kilometers, combat radius with 2 drop tanks. Service ceiling, 46,000 feet, 14,000 m. Rate of climb, 8,200 feet/min, 42 m/s. Wing loading, 86 lb/foot superscript 2, 423 kg/m superscript 2. Armament. 6 x .50 in, 12.7 mm, Browning M3 machine guns. Up to 6,000 pounds, 2,727 kilograms, of rockets and bombs, including one Mark 7 nuclear bomb. Avionics. A1CM or A4 gunsight with APG-30 or Mk-18 ranging radar. Communications equipment. AN/ARC-33 or 34 command set radio. AN/APX-6 or 6A IFF set. AN/AR-6 radio compass. AN/APW-11 or 11A radar set. AN/APN-21 TACAN set. Notable appearances in media. Richard Bach, who later wrote the bestseller Jonathan Livingston Seagull, was an ANG F-84F pilot who was once activated for duty in Europe. His first book, Stranger to the Ground, described in detail what it was like to fly the Thunderstreak in the course of an operational flight at night from England to France in adverse weather. F-84Fs were also used to represent North Korean MiG-15 fighters in the 1958 film version of James Salter's novel The Hunters, because none of the Soviet fighters were available during the ongoing Cold War for filming. They were painted a flat gray with red star insignia.
Please subscribe and thanks for watching.